Have you ever walked into a room and just felt tested? Like before a single word is even spoken? Well, we're going to break down this incredible story from knowledge curator D.R. Nayer's blog, Tiga.com, a site that's been all about lifelong learning for over 20 years. It's a story that shows how our confidence, or maybe our lack of it, is totally on display long before we open our mouths. Let's dive in.
Right. So this is the big idea right here. It's so simple, but it's really profound when you think about it. The story we're about to unpack is the perfect example of how the most powerful statements we make about ourselves are completely nonverbal. All right, so let's set the scene. Our story kicks off in a place that's probably familiar to a lot of us, a pretty high-stakes job interview. The narrator walks into the chairman's office, expecting the usual desk and formal greeting. But what they find is something else entirely. Okay, so picture this. You walk in and you see 5 chairs, all empty, all in a perfect row. It's simple, but it feels intentional, right? You could immediately tell this isn't just random. It feels like a stage, one that's been set up just to see what you'll do. And then you see it, the crucial detail. Right there in the middle, on the one chair that your eyes are naturally drawn to, there's a pullover just sitting there. It's this small, quiet little obstacle placed in the most obvious spot to take. A little test. So the chairman just gives this really simple instruction. Have a seat. That's it. No hints, no directions. The entire feeling in the room, the whole weight of the moment, it just hangs on this one simple choice you're about to make. So how does our narrator react to this silent little puzzle? Well, not with confusion and not with hesitation. What they do next is this series of really decisive, instinct-driven actions that just completely changes the dynamic of the room. And this is where it gets so good. Look at this 3-step move. First, they slide the chair with the pullover out of the way. Then, they move the closest empty one into its place. And finally, they sit down, right in the center. Notice the verbs: slid, moved, sat. There's no excuse me, no asking for permission. Just this calm, smooth action that says, I see the situation and I belong here. Now, the thing is, what our narrator had no idea about at the time, and what makes this whole story so great, is that this entire setup was a test. The chairs, the pullover, that vague instruction, it was all a silent interview, happening before the real interview even started. So to really get what was going on, you have to know about something called the power spot. It's this idea and body language and just, how we use space. The central position is instinctively seen as the spot for authority, for leadership. The test was simple. Would the candidate just quietly take it? So you can see there were really 2 ways this could have gone. On one side, you've got the path of hesitation. You wait, you ask permission, you take a side chair. It communicates, I need approval. But on the other side, you've got instinct. You assess, you act, you claim the center. That signals confidence and leadership. Our narrator was clearly on the path of instinct. Okay, so what's the bigger lesson in all this? I mean, this one little moment in a job interview actually tells us a much deeper truth about how we communicate who we are and where we fit in the world. And this really gets to the heart of it. We can all fake our tone of voice, right? We can choose our words very carefully. But our posture, that rarely lies. It's a much more honest signal of how we actually feel about ourselves. In this case, the narrator's posture just screamed confidence before a single question was ever asked. But, this story isn't just about how to nail a job interview. The author, D.R. Nayer, pivots here to something way more personal and, honestly, more challenging. It's a reflection that kind of forces all of us to look inward. Wow. This quote is just so powerful, isn't it? The side chair suddenly becomes this metaphor for every single time we've made ourselves smaller than we are. Just think about it. In meetings, at family gatherings, in negotiations, it's not that we were forced to the side. It's that we forgot we had every right to be in the center. And so that brings us to the final challenge. The author turns this whole idea around and points it directly at us. This isn't just about the narrator in the story anymore. It's about the choices we make every day. So we're going to leave you with this question to really chew on. Think about your own life. When was the time you instinctively claimed your space? And when was the time you chose the side chair? And maybe more importantly, why? It's a big question and a powerful one to carry with you.